Hello, my Taurus Collective. This is Zaida Velgara from Becoming I Am here with the reading for April 2026. I hope you enjoy. For all my newcomers, just an FYI, I like astrology and I believe that that's how it's affecting our tarot readings. So I pick 4 events that we will look for in oracle decks to find out how these events will influence your month. And then after that, I do some regular tarot. So I hope you enjoy. Starting off, we want to talk about Mars entering your sign, the sign of Aries. It will be on the 9th of April. This is important because it's like a bursting out of the warrior energy to take action as to what it is that they want. You can think of it like a warrior coming out of training and finally going out to fight, or you can think about it like a butterfly finally drying itself after coming out of the cocoon and being able to fly. Either way, it's feeling something and finally doing it, dreaming about something and finally acting about that dream, or wanting to heal something and initiating the healing process. And because of that, I decided I'm going to be using the chakra deck because this affects different energetic centers of ourselves and how it will project itself in our reality. So I wanted to see how that's going to affect you, my Tauruses. So let's see. All right, so we have this is an orange card. The orange card has to do with your sacral space. That's a divine feminine energy, and it talks about service. Okay. This can necessarily mean healing your sacral space by doing something for others, but this can also see the fact that there's a necessity for you to heal yourself and take care of yourself and attend to yourself, and how you do that attends to others. So I'm not really sure how it's going to project itself. I'm just going to leave it there for right now and continue with the reading and see how it evolves in the reading. Okay. The next thing is the new moon in the sign of Aries. This will be on the 17th of April. What's significant about this thing is not the fact that the new moon is in Aries, but that the moon, the sun, Neptune, Saturn, Mars, and Mercury will all be in Aries. That is a hell of a lot of fire. Okay, so this moon can be used as like raw spark of creation energy, right? So you can initiate a rebellion, you can initiate a change, a manifestation, an activation of something in your life. Just be very mindful that because there's so much fire on this energy, whatever you are manifesting to change using this new moon energy will be extremely harsh. Okay, it won't be something like, you're lighting a flame in your stove. It will be like setting a bonfire in the middle of the forest that is dry and creating a huge forest fire. That kind of energy. All right. I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know because you're Taurus. You guys like to break down some walls and some obstacles. This would be like you on steroids. Okay. Of breaking down walls and obstacles. So we're going to see how, and if we were thinking about that with this energy, it can be removing some kind of block or limitation that you have in your sacral space. Maybe a female wound or an inner child wound. That's possible. So let's continue to see how this can be activated in your life. This new moon, how it's going to affect my Tauruses. It fell in my lap, people. It fell in my lap. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, we got new moon in Virgo, and it says a time to give rather than to take. This is the second one, the same service to others. Okay, so what I'm feeling here, my Taurus, is that you're really being called out to, I feel like I'm calling out somebody of the sign of Taurus right now, but it's like less selfish, more selfless, right? Thinking about others, how this impacts others, how I can assist others. And it doesn't have to be huge. It can be like being that sympathetic ear for a person to listen to. It can be encouraging somebody and being their cheerleader because they need that at that moment. It can be just listening. Sometimes that's what people really want. So Definitely, there's an activation of your divine feminine energy in the month of April. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, we all have it. We actually are all conceived females. And then as we're going through the growth process in our mother's womb, we then choose a sex. So you're either man or female, and while you're in there, right? But I want you to see this because I believe very strongly that the sacral space, which is the orange, I hope you can see it orange there. Anyways, the sacral space is really connected to your heart chakra. This is all about your intuition and your emotions. Okay. This is interesting because now you and Aries, both of them feel like there's going to be a lot of emotions in the month of April. Now, the next thing we have is the sun in your sign in Taurus. It starts in April 20th. Why is this important? Because there's so much fire. We need to ground that energy, right? Fire can be explosive, can be reactive, can be all kinds of stuff. But if you anchor it in grounded energy, right? If you make a fire pit for that fire, for example, it creates an energy that can be controlled and moved in a very productive way. So it's the change that happens because you're more grounded in your beliefs. And so I want to see, wait, hold on, because I didn't want to do this for Aries, but for you guys, I want a charm. Hold on. Sorry if it makes no. Oof. Okay, closest to me, sooner. Farther away from me, farther in time. Left, sooner. Right, farther in time. So the first thing we have is the energy of Pisces. So this is either you're dealing with a person of Pisces or you're dealing, whatever, you can trust me. You're dealing with situations that have to be with old school belief systems, old school structures, old schools of ways of living your life and your reality. Right next to it is one that's upside down and backwards, and it's grapes. So the thing that um, you're going to be dealing with has to do with your abundance. So this is why sacral space. I feel like the old way that you thought that you should use your creation energy, your manifestation energy is shifting. We have white quartz, which is talking about cleansing and purification. And then we have Pisces again. So definitely I'm seeing some kind, because of this energy of Taurus, I feel like there's a purging or a cleansing when your energy comes about April, a cleansing in your sacral space. What does that mean? That means that if you are a female, you might be experiencing lots of cramping. Your period might get a little stronger if you still have it. There can be, and it doesn't matter if it's male or female, a lot of problems with like UTI, problems with your bladder, things with kidney stuff, all that stuff, because there's a cleansing process that's going to be starting on the 20th. Okay. I would proactively do things that will help nourish that sacral space. So that would be like hibiscus water or juice, or however you want to call it, that hibiscus tea. That's agua de Jamaica. If you drink that, that's really good for your sacral space, but also for your kidneys and your bladder. Things that will help you with that. Marshmallow root. Making a tea with marshmallow root might be very good for that. Drinking aloe juice, things like that might be very good for those areas. I don't know. Some kind of healing thing here is big. All right. I just feel like I need to talk to you about healing your sacral space and your kidneys and your bladder. Pay attention to them, especially if you're feeling that you're very drained and tired. Look into adrenal fatigue, because that regulates all that. If you're having a lot of water retention, that can also be about your kidneys, things like that. I don't know. I'm not a medical professional. Keep that in mind. Please consult your doctor if you have questions on that. But this is talking about a cleansing or a purging of that. That's initiating on this in your energy of Taurus, which will be on the 20th. And finally, the last thing I wanted to look into is Uranus, which enters in Gemini. That will start on the 25th of April and will continue till May 22nd, 2033. Huge ass freaking time. And for point of reference, I would like you guys to think about how last year's summer, 2025 summer, played out for you. Because this is a repeat. We got like a Cliff Note version then of a little bit of that energy. And now we're just going to be having it guns blazing this entire time. And that's when we started the whole revolt, where people were doing the No King's Day, the revolutions, things like this is not fair, standing up, fighting for what is right for them. And we also saw it in our personal homes, standing up to tyranny, I call it, or like unhealthy family dynamics. And there was a lot of upheaval with that. And that was provoked by this energy of Uranus in Gemini. And this is what is being provoked for a long period of time. So I wanted to see how it's going to affect you personally. I got 2 oracles for that. So let's see how it's going to affect you, my Tauruses. This Uranus and Aries. We have the energy of openness. Do you see how there's a full moon there? So you might start feeling the effects of this the following month when we have the following full moon, because the first full moon in April is on the I think it's the 6th or something. It's the beginning of the week, the month, but so we won't have another full moon until the following week. But there's openness here. So there's expansion. There's something that is awakening inside of you. Now, I want to see what. So we're going to do the shamanic deck. Wow. I told you it was a sacral space cleansing, because the grapes were backwards, which is talking about a distortion about how you use your creativity, how your abundance and your money is used and worked on. And now look at this openness, an expansion, awakening to what? Abundance, number 13. And that has 3 pentacles, and the 3 of pentacles for me is talking about networking. So the things that you're going to be connecting to, the people, you're going to be open to new connections, to new ways of looking at things. Also, there's 13 for in regular tarot is the death card. Death card is talking about a transformation. It's talking about an upheaval, and that I'm seeing that like a purification upheaval that's taking place in your life. So there is definitely some kind of cleansing that's happening in your sacral space. Okay, just a side note. And so that being said, let's see what the regular tarot would like to tell you. Final messages for my Tauruses. Ay, cabrón. They almost fell off on my hands. Can you believe that? Okay. We have the... Whoa! He fell on the floor. Hold on. Let me pause the video so I can grab it. Okay. So the Knight of Wands. This is talking about passion, fast movement. We got this energy. They keep falling on the floor, you guys. This one fell in my lap. Wow. We have the 3 of Swords, but this one's a little different because it's talking about lies and traiciones. How do you say traiciones in English? Betrayal? Lies and betrayal. This is interesting because we're looking at a cleansing of your sacral space, and we have the 3 of Swords and this passion, and then we have, I'm not going to show you this one because she's naked, but the Strength card. I am starting to see the 8 of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the Star card. This is big. We have 3 major arcanas out of 6 cards. Okay. So what I'm seeing here is that you're moving 100 million miles an hour to heal something in your sacral space. I done told you this has to do with inner child healing or divine feminine healing. There's a wound that you've been carrying. This is especially for those that have had a lot of problems with their lower regions. So hip problems, kidney problems, bladder problems, frequent UTIs, really strong periods, that kind of stuff. POS, PCOS, PCOS, right? Things like that. This is definitely for that person of the sign of Taurus. All right. Um, because what I'm seeing is this strong fire energy that's happening the beginning of the month, right? Where we have so much energy and fire is actually going to be working actively to remove something that has to do with a betrayal. And this does not feel only of this life, though it might have actualized in this life. This is for many other lives. A betrayal that you have been carrying in your sacral space to reclaim your strength so that your worth can be seen in the work that you're doing, so you can take back control and regain something that was lost so that your desires will come into fruition. I do feel like whoever I'm talking to also has been working so flippin' hard. Like you work and you work and you bust your ass and you're doing everything possible, but you're not getting the recognition, the reciprocity, the anything of the stuff that you have been doing. But that's because you've been having a block in your sacral space. Sometimes this also manifests as unworthiness. This also manifests as shame. Also, what do they call that? Body dysmorphia, things like that. Like, I hate me. Um, and there's some kind of purification in this, and it has a lot to do with the energy of Pisces. And Pisces is the old world. We actually move from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. This is very interesting because I feel like this is a huge upheaval and release of the divine feminine energy. In the bottom of the deck, oh, look, emotions and feelings, trapped in lies. And then we have the altar with the devil, which for me is talking about this energy of being able to move away from the with the chariot, because the altar is the chariot card, away from devil energy by restoring your foundations with the Four of Wands, because you finished a cycle. So you're coming out of a prison through the energy of Aries, of fire, and that's divine justice. This is interesting. We'll see how this plays out, because this feels like freedom. Freedom doesn't necessarily mean things will be easy, because you have to keep in mind that sometimes people prefer to be enslaved because they have um, what is it? Plausible deniability. It's not my fault. It's because of I have this mental illness. I have this physical impairment. I have this person that is oppressing me. I'm this color of skin. I grew up in this part of the world. Fill in the blank. We all have our excuses that we give ourselves as to why we are not reaching our main potential. And it's not a criticism of anybody at all. This is human nature, 1,000% human nature. And I feel like whatever is releasing from you is totally taking that part of you where you can use to justify, I don't know, your limits, to now take accountability and be like, F that. It's not because of that. I've just been lazy, or I've been whatever. And now I'm no longer going to let that take control of me. I mean, this is reclaiming your power. So congratulations for doing that. I mean, wouldn't it be a Taurus that does that? You guys are the bulls. You guys like to break down things. It's awesome. So continue moving forward. We'll see you.